A quiet purge in Washington, a new Syria taking shape. Top US diplomats pushed aside as Trump's envoy backs a unified Syrian state under Ahmed al-Sharaa. From Kurdish streets to Israeli airstrikes, unity hangs by a thread. But is America forging stability or engineering surrender? A quiet purge is underway at the highest levels of American diplomacy in Syria. Reuters reported exclusively on September 18th that some of the most senior US diplomats focused on Syria have been abruptly removed from their posts, marking a dramatic shift as Washington pushes to integrate Syrian Kurdish forces with the Damascus government. These diplomats were stationed at the Syria Regional Platform in Istanbul. That's essentially America's mission to Syria. All of them reported directly to Tom Barrack, Trump's special envoy for Syria and one of his closest advisors. Barrack, who took the role back in May, has been driving a major shift in US policy, now openly backing a unified Syrian state under President Ahmed al-Sharaa, the Islamist leader who came to power last December after the fall of the Assad regime. According to 5 sources familiar with the matter, the departures were sudden and involuntary, coming at the end of last week. One Western diplomat revealed to Reuters that the ousting was driven by a divergence in views between the staffers and Barrack, specifically on the issue of Syrian Kurdish forces and their relationship with Shara's government. A US diplomatic source told Reuters that a handful of staff were informed their tours were ending as part of a team reorganization, though the official reason for these moves remains unclear. The State Department declined to comment on what it called personnel decisions or administrative reorganizations. This shakeup comes as Barrack pressures the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces to move faster on a March agreement with Damascus. The SDF, which fought alongside American forces against ISIS during Assad's rule, now faces intense pressure to integrate into national security forces and bring their territories under state authority. But resistance is mounting among Kurdish leaders who gained significant autonomy during Syria's civil war and are reluctant to surrender control. The diplomatic maneuvering extends beyond Kurdish integration. Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa made a striking announcement on September 17th that ongoing negotiations with Israel for a security pact could produce results in the coming days. Speaking to reporters in Damascus, Sharaa called the security arrangement a necessity that must respect Syria's airspace and territorial unity while being monitored by the United Nations. The revelation came as Syrian Foreign Minister Asad al-Shaibani and Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer held marathon 5-hour talks in London on September 17th, mediated by US Special Envoy Tom Barrack. According to Axios, al-Shaibani presented Syria's response to an Israeli proposal for the security arrangement, with both sides working toward an agreement Damascus hopes will halt Israeli airstrikes and secure the withdrawal of Israeli troops from southern Syria. Shara's comments revealed the scope of Israeli military action since his rise to power. He told reporters that Israel had conducted more than 1,000 strikes on Syria and carried out over 400 ground incursions since December 8th, when his rebel offensive toppled Bashar al-Assad. These actions, he argued, contradict stated American policy supporting a stable and unified Syria, calling the situation very dangerous. The Syrian leader disclosed that the two countries had been just 4 to 5 days away from reaching the basis of a security pact in July, but developments in the southern Sweda province derailed those discussions. He described Israeli strikes near the presidential palace as not a message, but a declaration of war, yet emphasized Syria had refrained from military response to preserve negotiations. Damascus seeks an arrangement similar to the 1974 disengagement agreement that created a demilitarized zone following the Yom Kippur War. However, disagreements persist over strategic locations, with Israel wanting to maintain control of sites it seized after December, including the Syrian side of Mount Hermon, while Syria demands complete withdrawal. With characteristic candor, Sharaa acknowledged the complexity of the negotiations, telling reporters with a smile,
"It's a difficult case. You have negotiations between a Damascene and a Jew."
While diplomatic talks proceed in London and Damascus, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Hundreds of Kurds took to the streets of QAMISHLI on September 17th, demanding a decentralized system of governance that would preserve their hard-won autonomy. Protesters carried banners with Syrian Democratic Forces symbols and Kurdish flags, with some holding photos of Kurdistan Workers' Party leader Abdullah Öcalan.
"We have gathered here from all walks of life to demand a decentralized system of governance, far removed from the previous authoritarian Syrian regime. We want our people to unite behind this demand."
Kurdish resident Musa Ali emphasized his inclusive vision.
"We do not discriminate against Arabs, Kurds, or Christians. We want a decentralized Syria in which our language is recognized and taught. We want a united Syria that preserves our rights and helps us to achieve our goals."
The March agreement between Sharaa and SDF commander Mazloum Abdi promised integration of civil and military institutions while retaining special characteristics of Kurdish regions. But the transitional government also faced criticism.
"It intends to control everything alone, but the new Syria needs a decentralized system. We are in dialogue with the transitional government, but we are making little progress because they are stalling the talks."
Meanwhile, southern Syria faces its own crisis as Israeli forces continue incursions into civilian areas. Residents of QUNEITRA province towns reported on September 17th that Israeli units raided homes and detained civilians before withdrawing to military positions.
At 2:15 p.m., the Israeli army raided the house using 2 vehicles that arrived nearby. Inside were armed soldiers. They called out, "Merud, Merud." We stepped out of the house and they asked for Mahmoud and Mohammed. I told them, "Mahmoud and Mohammed are deceased. My sons are dead." They said, "No, they're not dead. They're alive." Then the phone rang. I don't know who they spoke to, but they said, "Mahmoud Muttasim and Mohammed Muttasim Merud. Those are the ones we want." I replied that they work in concrete pouring and don't come here. They work at a construction site. They said they still want them.
A Khan Arnabe resident captured the community's anguish.
"People are feeling intense fear due to the Israeli incursions. The Israeli enemy has struck terror into everyone's hearts. We are peaceful and simple people. All we want is to live off our honest livelihood, nothing more."
These developments underscore the immense challenges facing Syria's transitional government as it attempts to balance competing demands from Kurdish autonomy seekers, Israeli security concerns, and American diplomatic pressure, all while trying to maintain unity in a country still recovering from over a decade of devastating civil war.